Welcome back. You're watching Storyboard. Tata Starbucks, which has completed a decade of operations in India, announced its first Reserve store in the country in Mumbai this week. Starbucks Reserve store aims to elevate the coffee experience of the brand by introducing an intimate multi-sensor coffee experience to customers. On the sidelines of this launch, I caught up with Michael Conway, the Group President for International and Channel Development at Seattle-based Starbucks, and spoke to him about Starbucks Reserve, how mature is the Indian coffee market, and how has the 50-50 JV between Starbucks and Tata Consumer Products panned out in India so far, and way forward for the brand. Listen in. Michael, welcome to CNBC TV 18.
Great to be here.
Michael, 10 years of Starbucks in India, and you're bringing your Reserve to the country. Can you give us more details on what is the kind of experience that we will get out of this Reserve?
Well, first of all, again, great to be here with you on such an incredible occasion, 10 years in India. And for Starbucks, it starts with coffee. It's all about coffee. And Reserve is something that we have in all of our regions around the world. And what Reserve does is allows us to take our coffee craft and push it to the limits. So we look for small lot coffees. We use that to begin to experiment around with different roast curves. And then we push even further by trying through different roast methods or brewing methods like you see here. And what it does is it begins to introduce customers to a whole different kind of coffee experience. And for a market like India, where we've been for 10 years with our core stores, we've been introducing people to Starbucks, introducing people to coffee, introducing people to the experience of connecting over coffee. And now, 10 years later, I couldn't think of a better way to start to elevate the conversation around coffee than to introduce Reserve.
How mature is the India market to get this Reserve experience?
So India, from a coffee perspective, is still, I would say, relatively low consumption when you compare it to some of the Western markets like the US, like in Europe. And it is more of a tea market than it is a coffee market. With that said, what we've seen is that over the last 10 years, coffee consumption here has grown almost nearly double. Now, it's still, relative to the other markets, not as large, but that growth suggests that more and more customers are coming. And as we think then towards the future, something like Reserve starts to begin to elevate the conversation. And then as we start to accelerate, so we have 300 stores now, we're in 34 cities. Actually 36 cities. And what that allows us to do is to, again, introduce Starbucks to even more customers and start to introduce coffee to more customers. So still small market from a coffee consumption per capita, but the growth and the acceleration and what we're seeing would suggest that there is so much more potential here as more and more customers experience.
This is also 10 years of JV between the Tata Group and the Starbucks Corporation. If you can share with us, how has that panned out, and how and what did it help Starbucks Corporation achieve?
Yes, that's actually a great question, because for us, as we grow internationally, and we're now in over 84 markets around the world, many of them are in partnership. And so when we look to enter a new market, we look for that right partner, the partner that understands the local market, but importantly, the partner that shares our vision and our vision and our mission and our values. And so when I think about Tata, we couldn't have selected a better partner. We have shared values in terms of the way we care about community, the way in which we care about our partners or our employees, and we've seen that play out over the 10 years. Also, if I think about the shared commitment and investment to bring in more people to coffee and experiencing coffee, we have a shared value there. And so that partnership has been very important for us. So it is a 50-50 joint venture. We don't have many of those around the world. And so that again speaks to the shared commitment and investment and potential that we see here. And I continue to be excited about partnering with Tata and what we can do together.
Yes, and what do you think of the Starbucks experience in India?
Well, I've had the chance to be here for almost a week now. And what I see is, first and foremost, coffee passion. That's important. I said earlier, it starts with coffee, and our baristas are learning and excited about coffee. We have something called a coffee master, where you it's almost like a coffee university, and you get a black apron. And what that does is it gets you closer to coffee, and it also helps you explain coffee to customers even more. So we have over 800 coffee masters here across the country out of our almost 3,500 partners. And so that's a large percentage of baristas and partners who know and love coffee. So I see coffee and coffee passion. I also see ultimately the Starbucks experience. And what that is for us is both the experience of the store. And so I've seen just wonderfully designed and beautiful stores where customers want to come in, sit, talk, connect over coffee. We call that the third place. But the key ingredient to the coffee experience and the Starbucks experience is the way our partners connect with our customers. And so that's what I've seen is a deep connection and ability to try to get to know each customer, to make them feel at home, to make them feel welcome, to help them in their journey as they discover coffee, to suggest. And that together creates the perfect Starbucks experience. So for me, the Starbucks experience is alive and well here in India, and that gives me great confidence in the potential we have ahead.
And your thoughts on the Starbucks positioning in the India market?
So our positioning within India is fairly consistent with our positioning around the world, and that's what makes Starbucks special. When people travel, and even if you don't travel and you've heard of Starbucks, you want to experience and expect what you get in other markets. And so our positioning is fairly consistent, but one of the things we're doing here, and we do in all our markets, is to ensure that we bring what people expect for Starbucks, but then look for those ways to customize and tailor for the unique market. Hence, we have the right partner that can help us figure that out. We've been experimenting around with different menu items, food items, to make sure that it's as inviting as it can possibly be. And I think we're getting that right.
Also, Michael, if you can share, how are the inflationary headwinds impacting your plans and growth strategy for the markets?
Well, like all global companies, we are not immune to some of the inflationary challenges. So if you look at some of our input costs, et cetera, we are certainly feeling that. But from a customer perspective, we're actually seeing that our brand is quite resilient, and we are not seeing any challenges right now from a customer demand perspective. And I think that speaks to the power of the brand, the power of the customization, the way in which the customers come to Starbucks, not just for the coffee, but for the relationship, for the experience. And so, so far, our brand has been fairly resilient.
Yeah, and this is an experience in its own, the Reserve experience. If you can share with us, what is the kind of budget earmarked for this Reserve in the coming months?
Well, so this is our first store here in the market, and we haven't decided exactly how many more and how we want to budget around that. I think our focus is on the customer and bringing the customers in and having them enjoy an experience. And for something like this, we're less focused on exactly what that budget is and what the future is, but really more around ensuring that we create the right experience. And I think as we start to learn, because what we want to do is also learn, as we elevate the coffee experience, our customers, are they appreciating it? Are they understanding it? As we attract more, I think that will help us understand how we want to then use and adjust our budget so that we can introduce more customers to the Reserve experience.
Okay, and what are the key focus areas for the coming months?
Well, for us, it's about partners first. So we want to make sure that our partners are continuing to be engaged and feel valued, and we invest in their education. We invest in making sure that they feel valued. We want to invest in our stores. So we're constantly looking to elevate our stores. And as we look to invest in open new stores, we want to make sure that we have the right stores and the right experience for our customers. And then the final area is actually around convenience. We're finding that customers want many more convenient experiences. And convenient comes in a lot of different ways. It comes in the ability to order ahead. It comes in the ability to get delivery. It comes even in maybe drive-through. We don't have many drive-throughs, but we're experimenting around with that. And it comes in exactly the phones. Everyone has phones in the digital experience, and we're trying to create a more customized and personalized experience with our customers. And so through digital, through loyalty, and introducing more people to Starbucks in that way. So we want to make it more convenient. So those are a few of the areas that we're investing in.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us for this discussion.
Thank you so much.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we are in a special discussion on the upcoming FIFA World Cup 2022. Forbes India and Sports 18 present Marketing Playfield. Welcome back. The FIFA World Cup is approaching fast, and while the action on the pitch is always unpredictable, one thing is certain: it will be an event like no other. We have also seen the game of football gain a lot of traction and audience interest in India, and many brands also want to be a part of this playfield. So what is the kind of brand action that we expect around this event? What works around major events like the World Cup, and what is the outlook for the sport in the country? We are discussing all of this in a special discussion. Forbes India and Sports 18 present Marketing Playfield, and to discuss this, we have Deepika, Warrior, Chief Marketing Officer, DIAGEO; Sujatha Kumar, Head of Marketing India and South Asia for Visa; Dilen, Gandhi, Regional Marketing Director, Health, Reckitt South Asia; Ajay, Kakar, Chief Marketing Officer, Aditya, Birla Capital; Shashi, Sinha, CEO, IPG Media Brands; and Anil, Jayaraj, CEO, Viacom 18 Sports. Listen in. Deepika, let's begin this conversation with you. What is it about an event like the FIFA World Cup that, brings out so many football viewers in the country?
Great question. I personally am also looking forward, of course, to end November. So, you talked about it. Football as a sport, is kind of breaking through the dominance of cricket in India. It's growing. India is doing relatively better than it's done in the past. The ISL as a league has become, I think, the third largest league in the world. It's also, showing a growing interest in the sport, and not just in those pockets of the country, like Kerala, West Bengal, Goa, which have traditionally been the football crazy kind of cohorts. However, I think the FIFA World Cup in particular, just goes beyond all of that.
My next question is to you, Sujatha. What is the kind of activation that we will see in the country by Visa?
Actually, a host of activities. So one of the things we do is we do offer packages, and these are all-inclusive packages, including airfare from the time you leave, going there, experiencing 2 live matches, everything that comes within that period of time till the time you land back. We're running consumer contests for the same in not only India, but in our South Asia markets as well.
Over to you, Shashi. Over the past couple of years, how is this entire change in the digital landscape impacting the viewership of sports in the country? And what is it that you see very enticing about the game of football?
I personally believe the top maybe 10-15 million homes will watch on streaming, but it will be connected TV. That means they'll watch it on their television. Down the line, it will be broadcast, whereas, as Sujatha alluded, there'll be a lot of people, watching in fan zones and stuff like that. That should probably be broadcast. And a lot of people on the go will watch streaming. So I think this time in India, you're one of the few games which will be, through the line. You'll see both broadcast and streaming being seamless. So I think it's going to be a great experience all through.
Dilen, what is your outlook towards this particular sport and generally about sporting sponsorships in the country?
Yeah, I think, as everybody's spoken, obviously very excited as a fan of football, personally very excited. And it's what a great year to be a sports fan, right? If you have 2 World Cups back to back in the same year. For me personally, I think as the interest in sports has increased in the country, coupled with the interest in marketing with sports, we're starting to see a kind of framework emerging. On one end of the spectrum, you really have a lot of brands participating for the eyeball value that big sporting events like the FIFA World Cup bring. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have long-standing partnerships with particular sporting events or sports, which tie in with the core values of the brand. And then there are obviously a lot of opportunities that exist in the middle.
Shashi, what is the kind of opportunity does the format of this game of football offer for brands to advertise on?
Obviously, if you compare with cricket is even T20 is a 3-4 hour game, but this is limited. So obviously, there will be that much less opportunity in terms of advertising. But I want to make a comment. While cricket is very big and it's not fair to compare numbers on football, but I alluded to it. We are seeing a trend. If you see the big metros, they're young cohorts, maybe 15 to 25, 15 to 30, maybe boys, who their first game is football, and chances are they don't watch cricket. So today, a lot of brands are into segmenting, saying yes, while it's a big property, but we also need to look at certain segments which cannot be caught otherwise. And so a lot of brands like that, there is no other opportunity today. And these are, if I may use television jargon, heavy, medium, light viewers. These are light viewers of television. So and digital is so fragmented, you don't know how to catch them. So if you want to launch a brand or a variant or something special you want to do, you want large numbers in this, you can see this is a perfect launch pad for that.
There is, of course, cricket offers a greater opportunity with each six, a four, in between over advertising. How are you working around this whole format of the game of football and overcoming the challenges over there?
It's a great question, Shivani, and it's something that advertisers, broadcasters, streamers have been trying to crack in India. Few things. One is that the branding opportunities are still quite immense. So to be associated as a broadcast sponsor, as a streaming sponsor, as whatever tier of sponsorship, still is quite large, and that is very, very comparable to any big event that you have. In addition, all the pre-post events, etc., you can still advertise. And unlike, say, long breaks in cricket, or for that matter, other sort of events, what happens in football is that people are actually very, very passionate about the game, and hence want to follow much before the game starts, during the game, as well as during the mid-show and the post-show, and that provides a significant opportunity for advertisers to actually connect with the audiences. And one of the things that we are doing is we are going to be presenting this in multiple languages, as in English, Hindi, Tamil, Malayalam, Bengali, etc. So advertisers can choose specific languages in order to target their particular audiences.
The FIFA World Cup happens once in 4 years, but a lot of these tournaments like the English Premier League, the UEFA, women's football, like the likes of, global stars like Megan Rapinoe have made women's football as well very, very popular. So what can be done around these events which happen beyond the World Cup that are also contributing to the popularity of the sport in the country? Over to you, Ajay.
I think that what we are going to see at the World Cup is going to be spectacular. What we are going to be seeing is once in a 4-year opportunity. And in between, we have all these other opportunities, the leagues that you're talking about. But I yet want to pull back and say that I think this opportunity is being underexploited in India. India was and has the potential to become once again a football crazy nation. So far I see football and the World Cup, etc., as a passion of the niche. So it's attracting niche audiences, niche advertisers, and it will create the excitement with a niche audience. So I think the next step for me is the creation, and an idea I want to leave behind is the creation of an India opportunity to create the fervor, to rally the masses back to football.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us for this discussion. With that, it's a wrap. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time next week. See you soon. And here is wishing all of you a very happy Diwali.